right, guys, I got important updates about OGPU. I am on the road, so apologize for the crappy video environment here, but OGPU's project that has already 5x. I think it's going to do huge things in this cycle. Hopefully we see that. We'll get into that. But first, I want to give a shout out to Street Whisper. Let me share my screen here. Street Whisperer became a member, and he was notified. If you've looked at OGPU recently, he was notified that OGPU was probably going to do a little bull tear. That's about 3 weeks ago, and it's done just that. So thank you, Street Whisperer, for becoming a member. And if you'd like to get those notifications, sign up as a channel member. And yeah, let's talk about the altcoin breakout real quick here. A couple weeks ago, I sent out a notification in my newsletter that we broke out of this downward trend line. And this could mean alt season's around the corner. We're on the 2-week chart here. And you see the RSI is starting to tick up here. Got nice separation there. I believe this candle ends here shortly in the next couple of hours. But yeah, looking good for alt season. I think we'll see one, although we are, a really high risk moment, end of the business cycle. So I will say, be careful out there. It is risky, but things are looking good for a short alt season the next 2-3 months. Moving over to OGPU. So OGPU's chart has looked phenomenal. And compare this to the chart of some of its competitors like Node AI or Cash or some of the others. Look at this nice upward trend line. And we are pretty high here on the stochastic RSI. So we're pretty hot, but RSI looks pretty good. It's not in the oversold area quite yet. So there's definitely room for upward growth here. If you want to know kind of exit strategies, I'll be going over those in my for videos of members. Members will be able to see that. Be a member video. But let's talk a little bit about why I'm so excited about OGPU, why I think it's a great project. And we're going to go over some of the important updates. We're not going to go over everything here. If you want to get the full rundown, there's some videos I put out, about 3 videos of OGPU earlier this year. You can watch those, find those on my channel. But kind of the big thing here is just the market size potential of OGPU. So think about like Tensor for BitTensor, for example. You got a really strong chart. You got a project that's trying to mimic AWS, and AWS is Amazon's cloud services, and they package a whole bunch of different things like CPU rentals, storage, all these types of things. But most importantly, they've made like 250 billion in 2023. That's insane, an insane amount. And besides like some of the layer ones like Solana, Ethereum, and projects like that, you're not going to find that opportunity anywhere else in crypto in this cycle. So I think that the potential for GPU rentals is huge. Of course, you've got competitors that do CPU rentals, computing power, other computing power, and storage rentals, right? Like Filecoin and what is it, ICP. But yeah, those projects are already doing very well, and GPUs are in high demand. They're scarce. We need computing power for AI inference, AI training. And there are a lot of big businesses that have already proven this model, but I think there's some decentralized benefits where we could see some switching. And we're not going to take the entire AI marketplace over to crypto, on day one or even year one. But as long as we see some traction, and BitTensor's proven the model that we can adopt some of those or onboard some of those businesses onto the mainstay businesses onto the chain, then we're going to continue to see growth. And I wanted to play this video for you real quick from Chamath Palihapitiya. I'll butcher his name, but a guy from the All In podcast. It's a podcast of 4 Silicon Valley investors. A couple of them are billionaires, and they have a really good read on the market. And I just wanted you to listen to what he has to say here about BitTensor.
it's like this Web3 model does actually apply here, where there are some really interesting early adventures in crowdsourcing technical completion. I would encourage you to look at a project that I'm starting to focus a little bit on called BitTensor. And I was like, what is this thing? And it's basically a thing where you go and solve technical problems and produce features that people require, that need, and you get paid in this underlying currency.
So, I mean, what Chamath is saying here is, to me, I'm interpreting it as he's interested in these decentralized technologies that incentivize, people with spare computing power to basically lend their computing power out in the market, in this case, GPUs. And he thinks that this model could work. He talks about BitTensor. There's been a lot of interest. I posted a tweet recently about Kamath and some others that have shown interest and started talking about BitTensor. Guys tradition from the traditional tech world who are seeing these blockchain technologies come out in the deep inside and really paying them some attention. And that's no small thing. To me, that says there's probably more money than we know flowing into these deep in projects from big investors. They're probably dipping their toes, and I don't know if Kamath is, but I'm sure some of them are. And that extra capital will be good for these projects. And I think I think OGPU is going to be one of them because OGPU has a moat. And if you're not familiar with like a business moat is, the all-in guys talk about this occasionally too. A business moat is something that differentiates you from another business. It could be a really good brand like, Nike or Lululemon, and some of those brands have lost favor, but basically you have customers with those brands that they want a Lululemon shirt or Lululemon pants, or they want Nike shoes because they're dedicated to that brand. And they might see an Adidas shoe, but even though it might be a basketball shoe, they're just in love with the brand of Nike. And the Nike brand isn't as strong as it used to be. There are probably some better examples out there. I'm not a huge brand guy myself, but that's just a good example of a moat. Another example is technology. Technology is a stronger moat, in my opinion. If you can do something differently than your competitors, and by differently, I mean better, because you have a technology that allows you to do that. I mean, that's the whole idea around patents, right? I mean, I don't think this is OGPUs. I think they actually did patent their technology. But anyway, the point is they have a technology that allows them to service customers better by hiding the code that basically a Web3 crypto form. It's like basically a math algorithm that allows them to hide the code that goes to the GPUs. So when they do the training and inference, the GPU user cannot steal the source code of the AI that the customer is using to do that training or inference. And that's huge. Another thing they've been able to do that's differentiated. I mean, you can do encryption. There are other competitors that do some level of encryption. It's not as sophisticated as OGPUs, from what I understand. But the big difference is OGPU's completely decentralized, and OGPU's model is they're trying to build like an AWS, and how that's different than other GPU rentals is a lot of other GPU rentals. You're allowed to rent the GPUs on their network by time on a time basis, right? Like by an hour, by a half hour, whatever increments they are. But what happens is when you are doing very big training models or very big, large amounts of inference, you end up using a lot of time that's allocated to you in that rental, but you don't end up actually using it. You pay for it, but you don't use all that computing time, and that adds up to a lot of additional costs. And if you're one of these projects that doesn't have a ton of, well, I guess if you're any project or any business that doesn't have a ton of customers coming to you, you kind of want that model too, so you can say there's higher actual usage of your network than there actually is. So they're incentivized that way. Plus, they earn more on fees. The providers of GPUs are happier. So there's a lot of incentives to use that model, but the OGPU model is that you pay for the computing power necessary. Not It's not time based. They basically calculate the computing power that is required for whatever your task is. They put it out to the network. There's some bid processes that occur, and then your code is worked on, or your project, or whatever you're putting on the network for OGPU or for GPU use is worked on. You pay for that computing power, and then it's that GPU that worked on it is released to go to the next task like immediately. So much more efficient, more cost effective, and that's something that a lot of other projects don't do. Now, Tau is the market leader. BitTensor, it's the market leader right now. And the differentiator that OGPU has over Tau is that not only is OGPU completely decentralized, but it is unlimited in scalability. Tau does have a limit on their scalability. They have like 32 subnets or something last time I checked. And to handle all the extra load, OGPU is going to be able to do that amount of work without creating additional blockchain subnets. So that is an advantage over OGPU. You can see the comparison chart right here. We've got a couple of different things that differentiate it as well. AI training inference compared to render and bit. I mean, render is just more of a video rendering service. IONET doesn't have that. Akash doesn't have that. Now, the one thing I do want to mention, Akash has kind of a good model where they have different packages you can buy. That's another, I think, differentiator that OGPU is going for on they want to be the AWS. And what that says to me is one of the things it says is they're going to have different packages you can buy like out of the box. So instead of, just renting an OGPU, you can rent an OGPU for, with the model already built in for rendering video, or for like an LLM conversational text, or from text to images. And they came out with this recently. It was about a month ago on their example of this on their YouTube channel. I'm gonna show it to you so you can see what I mean here. And they go over this pretty well.
Subscription-based tasks focus on running pre-trained AI models on your local machine or hosting applications like Blender. Imagine running Blender, not just on high-end machines, but from any device, even your phone. With OpenGPU, providers host Blender locally and serve you, the client, with seamless efficiency. Whether it's Stable Diffusion for converting text to images, Allama 3, 1B for conversational AI, or Mimic 3 for text-to-speech capabilities. OpenGPU's provider ecosystem supports a diverse range of pre-trained AI models. Each of these tasks is executed with precision, leveraging the full power of decentralized GPU resources. And it's not just about AI models. OpenGPU Network also caters to traditional business needs. For example, companies needing optical character recognition, OCR, for document analysis can now utilize our network to process their data efficiently and securely.
All right, now what I want you to take away from that is the pre-trained models, right? Let me see. Stop sharing the screen. So these pre-trained models, it's an example of making the user interface. I mean, other guys have this, but their whole goal is to make the user interface advantageously, like super easy. So the UI and the use of it, you don't need huge engineering staff to run your models when you're running these GPUs. So not only is it attractive to companies that have a really strong engineering staff and running very custom programs or custom AI models on GPUs, it's also attractive to companies that don't have a large technical staff and can't allocate, even if they do, can't allocate those resources to get training done. So it is attractive to a broader number of businesses and customers and users than any sort of chain that doesn't have that. And I think this is just the beginning of the packaging they're going to put together for customers on the customer side, customer interface. So I think there's a ton of opportunity here. And I do want to look at the chart real quick because I don't remember if I mentioned this, but I think it's really important to at least mention it. So we have had a nice run here over the last couple months, despite altcoins being down and being beaten down. What we have seen is a little top out here on the RSI on the weekly, and I don't think the 2 week is showing up yet. I don't think there's enough data. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little stall out here for a little bit. But I do think long run we're going to see a lot of upsides. I know I've been, warning about the bearish scenario on the macro, but I do like outsized bets, and if we do see an alt season, which it looks like we're trending towards that, trending that way. I think this project could do very, very well. Of course, it's no promises, but they are about to launch their mainnet here very shortly, and they're also doing some marketing. They're doing AMA today on Monday with a very big, pretty big X account. I don't know if I had that pulled up, but I think he's got like 30,000 followers or something. So keep an eye out for that. I think this project could do like about a billion or 1.5 billion on this in this bull run. That's still like a good, if you invested 10,000 today, that's somewhere around $1 million, depending on what we get to. So obviously no promises. That's not financial advice. That's just my projection for where it could be in this bull cycle. But yeah, there are some risks. We're not going to leave without talking about the risks. We have a small project they're always very risky. You never know, but I'm very I think their execution has been very promising. There have been plenty of projects that haven't had as nearly as much progress as OGPU has over the last couple months, and they're even older. So that's very, very promising to me. And they're not fully doxed. They do have the highest level doxing certification from Certec, but they have not, doxed their names or their pictures at this point. So I do expect that to come around mainnet. So we'll see how that plays out. They have executed on everything they've told us they're going to execute on. For the most part, maybe some really minor things that they took in a different direction just because they made sense for the project. But very straightforward, very transparent project. So I'm fairly confident in putting my investment online for this. But like I said, it is still a small project, so that does not mean that there are no risks. And obviously, definitely not financial advice. Oh, yeah, one more thing to keep an eye out for. They should be doing an exchange listing with the mainnet launch. So keep your eye out for that. That provides more liquidity for the token. Also, it's a form of marketing in itself. You have if you're listed on an exchange. I know they were applying. I think they applied to 4 out of the top 10. They might have applied to more, but they're talking to 4 out of the top 10 crypto exchanges. So that is positive. That is very positive. And also, people will see that listing and do some research and figure out what it is. But the most exciting part to me is the fact that it's the biggest biggest available market in crypto this cycle, in my opinion, outside of some layer ones. And also they have a unique technology, so they have a moat. And from all the research that I've done, I think this is a very the potential for success is long term and broad and huge, like broad. Like there's tons of upside, and that's why I like it. That's why I think it's low risk to me, but you got to make that decision for yourself financially, because I don't know where you are, what financial position you're in. But yeah, bringing this to you from Europe. Hopefully, you got some value out of this. If you did, throw me a sub, and if you want some free newsletters, anytime I can't get to making a video, I'll sometimes write newsletters. Free one is in the description below. And other than that, good luck trading, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.